Hey guys, it's Generalkidd here. How's everyone doing today? So, for today's video, we are going to be going back to Halo 3 again and tackling the mystery of the glitched elite helmet on the mission Floodgate, as well as the squad of Vanishing elites. So, at this part, towards the end of the mission Floodgate, you see a Phantom drop off a squad of 4 elites. They are 4 Spec Ops elites, which is actually pretty important to keep in mind for later in the video. But we'll cover them last. But anyways, they just run up the hill and then they drop down when they fall back from too many flood, and then they kind of just vanish at this point. And then you don't really, even if you catch up to them or even like get ahead of them, they just disappear. But that's beside the point right now. The first thing we're taking a look at is that when you come down here, there are 4 elite bodies here, and more interestingly, sometimes when you come here, actually a lot of times when you come here, at least one of the bodies will have a very weird helmet on its head. As you can see here, this little helmet is, well, weird is one way of describing it. It's like a mashup of like every single elite helmet that exists. You can see the Spec Ops helmet in there. There's several like multiplayer elite helmets in there as well. There's the standard elite helmet in there and other pieces attached to it. Not to mention the rest of the armor, like the chest piece and the shoulder stuff, are also kind of like randomized and mixed up. And then the other bodies in here, first of all, not only are they all silver elites, but this one right here, that's the Shipmaster, also known as Halfjaw, also known as, if I'm pronouncing this correctly, Artas Vadum. But yeah, and then over here, the 4th elite is another copy of the Shipmaster. So what's going on here? Why are all these elites like this? Why are there 2 Shipmasters down here? And what's with that glitched helmet? Well, to figure this out, we need to go into our little modding tool called Assembly and take a look at where those bipeds or the dead bodies are spawned. And there are 4 dead bodies spawned there correctly. And if we scroll down just a little bit, we could see their permutation data. And upon further inspection, we could see the exact variant that it's trying to spawn for the dead bodies. And as you can see here, it's trying to spawn the dead bodies with the variant of Spec Ops. So, nothing really seems strange about that. It's just trying to spawn the Spec Ops elites, right? Well, let's go into the elites model information and take a look at all the variants available that you can possibly spawn for an elite. So there are 11 different variants that exist for elites, on the mission Floodgate at least. And these are all the variants that you can see here. And as you can see, there are no variants called just Spec Ops. There are only 2 Spec Ops variants in here are actually called Spec _Ops _SCL, as well as Spec _Ops _Dog. But we'll be focusing on Spec _Ops _SCL in this case, because that is the more commonly used one. The only difference between the 2 is just the voice actor, I believe. So anyways, going back to the dead bodies being spawned with the variant Spec Ops, that is wrong. That is a typo. Bungie kind of messed up there. So what I did was I fixed that and changed just plain old Spec Ops to Spec Ops _SCL. And now let's see what happens when I do that. So actually, if you saw my other videos in the past of similar mysteries from like Halo 2, like those are also all just typos. Like Bungie really like had a lot of typos in their Halo games, and even in the Halo 3, that's no different. So with the correct variant specified, they now spawn as Spec Op elites, like they're supposed to. But they don't spawn that way because Bungie used a variant that simply doesn't exist. So, as you remember in the Halo 2 videos, whenever the game tries to spawn a variant of a character that doesn't exist, such as a Marine or an Elite, the variant does not exist. It will still spawn it, but because the variant doesn't exist, it will just kind of randomize the armor, and that's how the game handles an invalid or non-existent variant. Well, actually, I believe it's the same in Halo 3. It's not really necessary to show you guys again because it's probably the same thing. But if the variant is kind of like a valid variant but just doesn't exist for the model, then it will randomize it. The variant, if you just type in like gibberish or something, it doesn't exist at all normally in the game files anywhere, then it will spawn like a default blue elite, just like it does in Halo 2. But Spec Ops, the word Spec Ops does exist in the game file, so that's why it spawns a randomized version. So it technically is valid, but it can't be used for these elites. And whatever Bungie employee worked on this at a time, I'm sure they meant to type in the correct Spec Ops variant, but they just typed Spec Ops and then forgot to add like the underscore SCL as well as the underscore before that. So it's a small typo, but with pretty big effects in the game. So anyways, that solves the mystery of why that glitched helmet exists. The mashed up helmet with every single elite helmet possible. That exists because it's a typo in the variant, and which it spawns like a randomized or mashed up version, and sometimes it randomizes to the shipmaster as well. But what about these elites that are dropped off by the Phantom? The four elites, the 4 Spec Ops elites that are dropped off, and then they fall back, and then they just vanish when they drop down. Let's take a look at what happens as they drop down the hole. We can kind of see where they go. So when they jump down, they just go poof, and they just vanish. And it's not just one of them; it's all of them. Once they all jump down the hole, when they fall back from the flood, they all just vanish. Well, you probably guessed it by now. Based on the fact that these elites down here were supposed to be Spec Ops elites, but were just spawned incorrectly with the typo. Those elites that drop down, those are these elites here. These elites are supposed to be. There's 4 dead bodies down here, which corresponds to the 4 elites that dropped down the hole. But they all died somehow. Now we'll never really know how they died. Most likely the flood down here killed them. But that's where they went. That's where they ended up. A lot of people have asked me in the past, like, where did those elites go? Because they just vanish. Well, now you know. They died. Only we don't really realize they died because their bodies were spawned incorrectly. But because they were despawned and then respawned as dead bodies. But once we fixed it, it all makes sense now. But yeah, so hopefully you guys found this video to be interesting, and if you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like as always. Leave your thoughts in the comments. If there's anything else for me to check out or look into, just let me know, and I'll do my best to look into it when I get the chance. But other than that, if you haven't already, do make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.